So, good morning, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I have the lovely Kristine Best this morning, who's going to have a chit chat with me. And my question to you, Kristine, is what do you enjoy doing when you're not working?
Hi, Carolyn. It's good to be here. What do I like to do when I'm not working? I like to play music. I
Yes.
like to be physically active. And I like to go have a coffee in a cafe and just sit and watch people go by
Yeah, people
because
watching is great, isn't it?
it yeah, it's interesting and it gets
Mm,
my brain working as to wonder what kind of mood they're in. I wonder where they've been. I wonder where they're going to.
mm.
I actually wrote a song about that as well. So it inspires me. Different things inspire me, and I love to be in nature. Do you like
I
being in
do,
nature yourself?
absolutely. And I think one of my two of my favorite places is by water
Yep.
and also in the woods, so in woodland.
I love the smell of
Yeah,
the forest, rainforest.
yeah.
It's an earthy smell,
It is.
and
It's sort of mushroomy and yeah, that sort of
yeah, I love that, and I love the smell of different trees. Like we have
mhm.
eucalypts, and sometimes there are floral smells, and I just love, I just love the assault on all my senses. Especially when you're by the sea, then you smell the sea air.
Yes,
I love all those natural sights, sounds, and smells,
yes. And that
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 kind of
that
thing.
sort of triggers things, doesn't it? When you've got all that, you wouldn't be there if you didn't enjoy it. So, you know,
I think nature has a different um, energy to if you're in the city or if you are
oh yeah.
working or stuff like that.
Mm,
You're outdoors, you're in the fresh air, and that in itself is refreshing. But it has a positive energy, and
definitely.
I find that invigorates me,
Mm,
and um, I don't know, it's grounding. And then especially sunsets. I don't know about you, but
oh,
I love sunsets.
and especially over the ocean.
Well, yes, especially. And I've taken some beautiful, amazing shots because I live near the water at the moment. And the bird life is prolific. We have a lot of black swans, believe it or not.
Oh, do you?
Hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's supposed to be the national, well, the state emblem of Western Australia is the black swan.
Oh, I
But
didn't
we
know
have
that.
hundreds of them come here from time to time.
Mm,
I guess it's to do with the feed. They go from lake to lake, and it's a
yes.
saltwater lake where I live. And they're absolutely beautiful, and they've got a really lovely kind of a honking. It's a honking kind of sound, but it's really pleasant,
Yes. I haven't
and
seen a black swan in years.
they're very graceful,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
they look like a very gentle sort of bird, and I love just sitting or standing by the water and watching them.
Watching. Yeah, yeah.
And every
And
now
of
and then
course,
they open up their wings.
mm,
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
yes. And of course, you do write songs, so your subject for your songs must be incredible because of everything that you're seeing in nature. That it must trigger all sorts of different ideas.
Yeah, I wrote a song about sunsets actually, and even sitting in a cafe watching people go by, I wrote a song about that. You know,
Mm,
everything can inspire me. A story, a movie. Even one day, I was stopped at a set of lights, and I was working for a boss at that time, so it's a few years ago, and I stopped at this set of lights, and this truck drove across the intersection, and I hadn't seen. this particular name on a truck before, and I thought, and it was Border Express. And
Hmm?
I thought it looked like a delivery vehicle. And I thought, that make a really good title for a song. And I just felt really inspired by this truck in the middle of the intersection. Go figure. But all of a sudden I'm going, and I had to fish into my bag and get a notepad and pen out and started to write the lyrics, and the lights changed.
How
Had
rude.
to very inconsiderate.
Very.
So, so I'm madly putting that down, and before somebody honks at me,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I
dear.
drove off, waiting. Oh, where's the next red light? I wanted to. Who wants a red light? But I did,
You
because I
did.
had these. Because
Oh, dear.
normally you don't want a red light,
No,
but I did.
not normally. Oh, I
So
love it.
anyway, red light. Oh, beauty. Got my notepad and pen and madly writing some more words down before. Because if you don't write them down, they're
Yes,
gone.
they're gone.
And you can't, and you're going, what was that? What was that? So I'm trying to say them over to myself, and then there's more lyrics coming to me, and I'm trying to remember those new
Oh,
ones.
no.
So finally I get a red light. I write them down, and the lights change, and
Oh,
and
dear.
I went to a few intersections looking for red lights. Anyway,
Oh, dear.
I managed to write them all down and
Good. I'm
finish the
pleased.
song later.
You had a
Yeah.
row of red lights and you got all your lyrics down.
It's funny
Oh,
because
dear.
you don't normally want red lights, but I did that day.
Yeah. Oh, that's a brilliant. I like that. That's brilliant.
Well, when you get an idea, you've got to write it
You
down.
have, because it does go. I think of things, and then 5 minutes later, because I didn't write it down, it's gone. What was
Yeah,
that?
what
No,
was that
it's
thing? Yeah, exactly.
absolutely, it's just vanished. Yeah, yeah.
It's fleeting. It's fleeting, and yeah. Unfortunately, those inspirational moments are gone
Mm,
unless you record them somehow.
yes.
Um,
No,
and
I think, yeah. Sorry, I
no,
interrupted.
I was just going to say I'm reluctant to get my phone and talking to my phone, because it'd be just my luck there'd be a copper outside, and he'd go, "You're booked,
You're
right?"
booked.
So,
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, that would be no good whatsoever, would it? Yes.
no, 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 wouldn't be
You
very
don't
good.
want to. You don't want to get booked. Nah,
Yeah.
they're not the best things to happen. Yes, but and do you enjoy any form of exercise outside at all apart from walking?
Well, yes, because wellness has been part of my life all my life. I've been interested.
Mm,
I got interested. I guess my interest was sparked off at the age of 7, because I read something in an children's encyclopedia. But to this day, and I'm 71, so my memory's all right. I can remember back that far. And I can remember what that page looked like. And it was all about blood, human blood,
mhm.
and how there were red blood cells, white blood cells, and the different functions that they had. And at 7, I'm going, wow, there's iron in my body. Wow. And that's what makes my blood red, and it carries my oxygen. And these white blood cells, I didn't know I had white blood cells, right? And I'm thinking, wow, um, it's part of my immune system, and that's what keeps me well. And this thing just blew me away.
Mm,
And I guess that was the first what I would call a significant pillar in my
yeah.
life. And then later on at 10, I healed myself of asthma. And yeah, I was just at 10. I was waiting for my mum to come inside, because I think she had a job for me. And I was at the dining table, and she had a magazine there, and I'm just going flip, flip through the pages. There's nothing in here that interests me, at 10
Mm,
years of age.
yeah.
And all of a sudden there was this page, and I stopped and went, "Ooh," and I went, "Oh," tore the pages out of the magazine. And I went, I don't know if I should have done that. But I think she's finished with the magazine. It's okay. And I ran off to my room with those, and read them. And it was about breathing. Now, at that age, I had asthma,
Hmm.
and at various times it got worse than other times. And so this thing was about breathing, and it taught me all sorts of breathing exercises and posture exercises and stuff like that. And I was really interested in it. And I did them every day. And guess what? It got rid of
Asthma
my
went.
asthma. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the second pillar.
Mm.
It's just interesting how life can happen like that,
Yes,
and um, and
it
that
is.
and that was the basis of, well, if your body is if you give your body the right circumstances, it'll heal itself.
Yes.
And I didn't think much more of it. I just thought, well, that's it. You can do that.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
And
I
that
don't know
gave you a
about you,
great
but
foundation.
it gave me a great foundation.
Mm.
And well, everybody wants to be well, don't they?
Yeah. Nobody wants to be ill. And I think that at such a young age, for that to have an impact and to learn from that, is really quite something because, not a great deal now I see of children. They just don't seem to be in the same that you were at that age, and they
No.
are the same age.
Well, they
It
certainly
seems miles
probably,
apart.
I think a lot of them are probably not as active because of
Mm.
technology.
Yeah.
And that concerns me because children should be outside in the sun, climbing trees, falling out of them,
Yeah.
hurting themselves, getting back up again, and playing sport and outdoors and,
Mm.
that kind of thing. I used to send my son out and he'd go down by the water, and I'd say to him, go and torture the crabs. Go on, get outside. Because they'd go down and catch them, put them in a cardboard box, and, you know, and
Yes.
then they'd let them go. They didn't torture them as such, but, I used to say that. And then they'd climb trees and make cubby houses,
Mm.
and I
Same as
did
I
all
did.
that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, that's what I did as a kid. And I used to climb trees and swing out of them on rope swings. And I loved all that. Road horses, bareback.
Yeah.
There was a Chinese garden there, and they grew all sorts of veggies. And right near the fence was the carrot patch. So we used to sneak in there, make sure there weren't any people around, and pinch the carrots to
It's the
feed the
carrots.
horses. We were kind of naughty.
Yeah. But
Well,
it's
not
they
really
taste
naughty,
good.
but no, well, we just wanted to feed the horses.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do scrumping for apples as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
And you
not many, just enough for the people that were with you. You'd sort of race along, and there's an apple tree, and you sort of make sure nobody was around, much the same as you did with the carrots.
yeah.
But I think it's great, and I remember going out in with friends in the woodland, and I'd say, Mum would make sure that I had breakfast, and make sure you're home for tea, she'd say, and you were out all day
We
without
were. We as
concern.
kids, yep. But you wouldn't do that now because
No,
it's not safe necessarily. Uh, and even my son, I was very careful with him. Not overly careful, I let him go out. And I said, you've got to tell me where you're going,
yeah.
who you're going to be with. Do not be on your own. I want to know who you're with.
Mm,
And he was really good, my son,
mm.
except for one day. One day he scared the heck out of me because I didn't know where he was. But anyway, it worked out all right. But yeah, things are a little different today, I think.
They are. And isn't it a shame that children can't really be children without these gadgets or being given gadgets to keep quiet?
Yeah,
Um,
here's an iPad. Shut up, kids. Right? That's no, but I mean it's sad, honest, because that's what a lot of parents do. And
yeah,
my son, I really limited the amount of time that he had because he had I think it was a Game Boy and an Xbox later on, and I limited it to an hour and a half maximum, and then
yeah,
I said, right, you and your mates are outside, go,
yeah.
and so um,
And
and
does he
they
thank
had
you for does he thank you for that now?
Yeah, I suppose he doesn't really say, but he's got a good life and a lovely wife
Mm.
and a really good job. He's a really well balanced young man.
And
And
that is that's a credit, isn't it, to how children are brought up if they are balanced, I
yeah,
think.
he's a clean living young man,
Yeah,
doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't need that. He's got a good life. He's got a caravan. They go away regularly to stay in the caravan because it stays on site on a property, 40-acre
yeah,
property. And he goes there with other youngies his age, and they play soccer and board games, and they
brilliant.
have a really good time.
Mm.
Without alcohol, they don't need alcohol.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
youngsters now that are choosing to have cups of tea or coffee rather than alcohol, which is
Mm.
very interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Well, that's what my son's like,
that's brilliant.
and his
You know,
wife is the same. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a credit when children, everything that you've taught them as a foundation or given them as a foundation, because it's a gift, isn't it, really?
Mm.
And you see them in later life doing the
Uh,
things.
I know my son loves that life. He's really glad
Yeah,
I brought him up that way. Yes, he is.
yeah. No, that's brilliant.
And I was really worried about him at one stage because, when they go to high school, they meet all sorts of people.
Yeah.
And, uh, but I never ever tried to tell him what to do as such because I brought him up with good morals and guidance. And I always asked him his opinion. I didn't impose myself on him. I
Mm.
gave him the ability to rationalize and reason for himself. And I often used to ask him question about maybe what I've seen on the news or what we were watching on the news one night. And
Hmm.
I said to him, "What do you think of that?" And he goes, "Oh, this, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, "Wow, what an answer is that?" He blew me away because it wasn't.
Oh dear. Can you still? Oh, you froze just then.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, there you go. Anyway, so my son used to blow me away with things that he came up with. Um, I didn't have to impose my will on him or
Mm.
anything else. He could think for himself, and I raised him that way to think for himself. And I used to trust him implicitly, and he never ever disappointed me. He was a very good kid,
That's great. That's
and
great.
he's a lovely man.
Yes,
So yeah, and that to a parent is, well, he's my greatest accomplishment in life,
of
really.
course. Yeah, of course. And again, coming back to what you found out at the age of 4 and 10, is
No,
kind of
seven,
a
seven, 7 and 10.
7 and 10.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it is kind of it's a foundation because you had that foundation. You gave him the
a
foundation.
foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what about you? Have you got kids,
No, no children. I've got nieces and nephews. Um,
nieces and nephews?
yeah.
Oh well, I guess you can influence them.
Well, yes, when I I don't see them that often. They live quite a number of miles away, so I don't get to see them that often.
Hmm.
But which is a bit of a shame. But the uh, one of my younger brothers, the children are um, very well rounded, and my other brother, they have a freedom. They have my middle brother. He's lovely, as they both are, and he has this the free will, festivals and all that sort of thing. So it's interesting seeing that the two families, how the parents are, and how they've grown up. It's interesting to see. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to
well,
see.
everyone, the dynamics of a family, they're all different
Yes.
because the parents' relationship, everyone's is different.
Mm.
And I find that interesting,
It is,
actually.
yeah, it is very interesting. But I think that we've had an initial great conversation, and I think there's probably room for learning a little bit more about you and probably about
Oh,
me too.
and about you, yes.
Yeah.
We've got to tell your viewers about some of the antics you got up to with your motorbike.
Well, yes. Well, we'll save that for next time, I think. Oh dear, that I wish I'd never mentioned that. That's followed
You're,
me.
you're not going to leave that one down.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Carolyn.
Well, wait, watch this space. That's all I can say. Well, it's been a great pleasure, really having a great chit chat with you, Kristine, today,
Yeah, it was fun.
and I look forward to our next one. So, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.